Today is Wednesday, March 17th. It is St. Patrick's Day. I am your host, Casey Phoenix, and this is my daily thought. Let me tell you, okay, people, I'm starting this off and I'm feeling better today. So, obviously, sinus stuff's still going on, but my ears haven't been acting up, just my throat, which I can still talk, obviously, but it's way better than it was yesterday. However, I decided not to do any readings today because I didn't know where I was going to be at from a, you know, physical health wise and then also energy wise because my energy is kind of So I was like, okay, let's just see where this goes. But tomorrow, more than likely, I'm 85% sure I will start the readings tomorrow. So I'll probably do Pisces and Sagittarius tomorrow because I'm not looking to do any more than two readings. If I do more than two readings, then, cool. It'll be three maximum, but I'm not looking to do any more than two. My goal is to do at least two tomorrow. So I want to start that tomorrow and get that done. Also, and I'm just rambling on, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. Also, this podcast can be listened to on Apple, Spotify, Google, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Bullhorn, Overcast, the list goes on and on. And on social media platforms, KIRWKC on all the social media platforms as well. So, let me go ahead and hop into this. I was thinking about this and I put it on my list of things to discuss for the daily thought. And I guess I can talk about it by telling a story. And for this particular daily thought, it doesn't necessarily have to be related to romance because this particular story is related to employment, to job, which some of you, if you've been listening to my podcast since the beginning, you've more than likely already heard this story. But for the new people, you're going to hear it for the first time. Back many years ago, when I first came to Los Angeles, there was a job that I really, really, really wanted. I wanted that job so bad because I had seen it, and it was kind of crazy because I had just left the travel industry because I worked for Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. I worked at their corporate headquarters in Miami. And then after I left Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, I was running my own travel agency until I got tired of it. I just told all of my reps, I don't want to do this anymore. In the sense of, I don't want to run the company and have to deal with everybody because it's a lot when you're running an agency. You're handling everyone's commissions. You're dealing with all of the suppliers. If any of the agents do anything that is off, then you're the one who has to fix all the stuff. And there's just a lot of things that come with running your own travel agency and having people report to you. So, and I just didn't want that responsibility at that time anymore. Now it's whatever. But at the time, didn't want the responsibility anymore. So I left and stopped doing it. I had moved to Los Angeles, or back to Los Angeles. And after some years of not doing travel, there was this job working for this travel company. It was a cruise line company. And I was like, wow, this fits me perfectly. And I've taken enough years off. I was able to decompress because between the time that I took off, I was working at T-Mobile. So it was like, that was enough time to decompress and do everything I needed to do. So I was here in Los Angeles and found out about this job. And I was like, oh, this job is perfect for me. And I sent in my resume, and obviously I was going to get called in for an interview, which I did. And they were like, yeah, this is really, really good. And the lady that I was talking to, the first interview, I could tell she really liked me. Like I told you before, I'm good at reading people. And I could tell she really liked me. And then she also liked that I was able to pronounce something that people usually pronounce wrong, because it was the name of the ship, one of their ships, and I pronounced the name correctly. And when I pronounced the name correctly, she was kind of shocked. She said, a lot of people usually get that wrong. And I'm like, well, no, I remember how to pronounce it. And then I told her the way that I remembered it, which was through the Golden Girls. It was an episode of the Golden Girls. Long story. I'll explain that another time for another day. And she was like, oh, that's great. And then as for the cities and the countries and stuff like that, I tested well on that too. And then we got to the part where I did my other interview. This was with someone else, and I could already tell that he did not like me. I could already tell. I was just picking up the vibe. And, you know, I was like, I don't think this is gonna fly. I was like, hopefully I'll get it. I was like, hopefully, you know, since the first one went so well, the first interview, and me and the first lady I spoke with, the original person I spoke with, since we had such a great chemistry, I was like, hopefully she'll, you know, champion on my behalf or do something else or whatever, and it'll all work out. Because the job was literally about, let's see, a mile and a half from where I lived at. It was a mile and a half, which was perfect. I was like, oh my goodness, this will be so perfect. So I didn't hear from anyone, and I decided to call because, you know, you don't want to stay waiting around. Obviously, you're going to have your resume out to other places when you're doing that, but you don't want to wait around if you get a call from somewhere else and it's like, oh, well, I'm waiting on this. You want to know where you stand. So I called them and they said, no, we didn't select you for the position at this time. And I was like, oh, and I was so bummed out. I was like, wow, I would have been so perfect for that job. Well, I kid you not, probably about, how long did that take? I want to say about maybe 2 to 3 weeks later, I received a phone call about my resume. And it was from a real estate company. Now, mind you, I hadn't worked in real estate. There was this one little thing I did in real estate back a long time ago, so I don't really count that. But as for working in real estate, I've never really worked in real estate before. And that's not something that's on my resume. It's mostly travel, sales, customer service, management, things like that. Okay. So when they called me, I was kind of hesitant because I was like, well, because I'm still thinking about the job that I lost. Because I'm like, they didn't pick me. I was perfect for the job. Why didn't they pick me? But I was like, okay, you know, I went ahead and took the interview, and I went in to this real estate interview. And the guy was really cool. It was kind of funny because I think he was part Filipino or whatever. And at the time when I first moved back to Los Angeles, I was staying with someone who was Filipino or Filipina, because female, older female. And I knew a little bit of Tagalog. So we were kind of chatting it up on that. And, you know, just, it was good chemistry. And they offered me the job. And I was like, Now, the crazy thing is, I took the job. The building that the job was in, I kid you not, the building that the job was in was literally a block from the building of the job I originally wanted. The one that I interviewed for and didn't get. Because one of the things, like I said, I was thinking about distance because I didn't want, because being in Los Angeles, you don't want to have to, if you can avoid it, you don't want to have to drive 10, 15, 20 miles to get somewhere. You just don't. And this job that I took, it was literally a block away from the job that I didn't get, which was crazy. And at this job, in this real estate job, in the course of 10 months, I managed to receive 2 raises at this job within 10 months' time and a promotion as well, where the way I was promoted at that job, it was almost like I didn't have a boss. Pretty much. I kind of had carte blanche at that job, which to this day is still my favorite job I've ever had. That one in Banana Republic. Banana Republic in South Beach. If you ever get a chance to work at Banana Republic in South Beach, do it just for fun. Because I actually, when I was working at Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines full time, I was working at Banana Republic part time in South Beach on Collins Avenue, and when I lived in Miami Beach. And one of the funniest job ever. If you just want to laugh, especially now, obviously this is almost what year are we in? 2021. This is what, 17 years ago? Oh my God, time flies. I'm revealing my age. But yeah, because that was 2004-ish, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, 2000, because I came back. So around 2003, 2004, period. So 17, 18 years ago. If the work atmosphere is still the same at Banana Republic in South Beach on Collins Avenue, I highly recommend you work there, even if it's part-time, because it will give you a laugh every single day. But I digress. So at this job that I wasn't sold on. It was more of, okay, I need to work. I need to make money. I didn't get the job that I wanted, and for whatever reason, they didn't pick me, even though I was perfect for the job. I was at this new job in real estate. Mind you, real estate isn't my thing. And within 10 months, I was promoted, and I received 2 raises, because I received a raise because I came on as an independent contractor is how they hired me. And then they were like, we like you, so we're going to give you a raise and make you an actual employee. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I got insurance benefits and all that stuff. And then a few months later, I received the president. Okay, the CEO hired a president to deal with the day-to-day because the CEO was dealing with other stuff. The president had been watching me at the time. And the president of the company was like, I want him to come work with us over on his side of the building. So with him and the asset coordinator at the time, which the asset coordinator, she was really, really cool. She was very direct. And also, I love working with women because women know how to get things done. They don't do a circle, you know what. It's just like women get straight to it. And that's the type of attitude I usually prefer when dealing with things. Like, let me know what you want me to do. Let's go ahead and get this done, and let's keep it moving. I'm not here to be your friend. If we end up being friends as an after product of work, fine. But I don't walk through the door looking to make friends with anybody because that's not part of my scope of support. My scope of support is to do my job, period. Okay, so she was really, really cool. So they brought me over there. And once they brought me over there, I started working. I received my second raise. And it was kind of funny because the vice president of acquisitions, who was also the treasurer of the company, when I was in the office and the review happened, I received, I forgot what category it was, but 5 was the highest you could get. And when I got the 5, he was like, no one usually, it's like people don't usually get the 5. And I forgot what category it was for. People usually don't get a 5. But the person I semi-reported to, the asset coordinator, she gave me a 5 and did that. And all this other stuff happened, da, 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 da. And then they gave me another raise. So this is 2 raises in really less than 10 months in a certain degree. And it was funny when he gave me the second raise, he was like, now, you're going to have to wait at least 6 months before we give you another raise, right? Because you've already received 2 raises here. And I'm like, yeah, I know, da, 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 whatever. It was all good. And mind you, I didn't ask for the raises, because if you follow my show, I don't believe in asking for raises. It's just like either you're going to give me a raise or not. If I'm not happy, I leave. That's what I do. So, yeah. But I learned so much on that job. And again, I kind of didn't report to anyone because I was a fixer at that job. I was the person where if something needed to be done or handled, sort of like the Olivia Pope type thing, I was the one that they came to handle it. If they needed answers on something, if they needed something fixed, it landed on my desk. And that's what I did. And I was now I'm pretty mellow, because the job I work in now is very zen, very chill, very just go with the flow. And I had to change and filter and water down my personality a little bit when I came to the job I'm at now, which I've been at for like 6 years, because I was so in the mode of, so yeah, with that. But after I finished with that job, a lot of crazy stuff happened. But then something related to serendipity happened. And this other real estate company contacted me, because I had something told me to just put out my resume, because the old company had closed down, because things had happened in regards to the bidding process and all this other stuff. Long story, I'll tell it on another day. But the end result was the company closing down. In addition to that, there were other things happening in my personal life where I was just like, so that happened. So a few months later, I was just like, you know what? Just for kicks, let me throw out my resume and just see what happens. And something in my spirit told me, because my intuition is usually on point, something in my spirit told me, watch they call me. I told one of my god sisters this. I was telling her that. I was like, girl, I just sent off this resume to this company just for kicks. I said, watch they call me in for an interview. Because this was the thing where it was like, I could take the job because, yeah, it'll pay and all this other stuff, but I'm not thrilled, not really looking. And sure enough, about a week later, they called me. And I interviewed with the manager there. And it was still in real estate, but instead of dealing with the selling of homes and dealing with the deeds, it was dealing with the financing side of things. It was dealing with finances, with loans, is what it dealt with. And once I spoke with the manager, and after they offered me the job, the manager had said to me, the reason that I was pushing to get you hired, well, 2 reasons. One was I was a licensed notary, which they also paid me more than what they advertised. That was the other thing too. They advertised a certain pay rate. And she told me, she said, well, we know we advertised this, but we're going to pay you more than that because you're a licensed notary. And I'm like, oh, okay. Again, I don't ask for things. I just go with the flow. The only time I don't go with the flow is if it's something I'm just totally against, because I hate conflict. I don't like to deal with conflict. However, if I'm forced, then that's when the fangs show. And then people are like, oh my God, why are you being so mean? I'm like, Really? But I digress. So she was like, you are a licensed notary, so we're going to go ahead and pay you more than what we advertised. And then she was saying, the reason that we hired you is because of your experience working with a certain supplier. And you already have an idea of how that works. Mind you, if I would have been at that company, the cruise company that I applied for, the job that I felt I was perfect for, I wouldn't have landed in real estate for the period that I was in it for. After things happened where I decided to leave the second real estate company that I was at, it pushed me in a different direction. And I'm at the company I'm at now, which I work in the music industry, is what I work in. Music and tech and all that stuff. I've been doing this for 6 years, since February. And I've learned a lot of interesting things. The thing is, though, is that if stuff wouldn't have happened exactly like it did, I more than likely would not have landed at the company I'm at now that I've been at for 6 years. And my experiences at the company I'm at now, good, bad, or indifferent, if not for the company I am at now, I wouldn't have been able to maintain the things that I've maintained and then some over these years that I've been in Los Angeles. Because a lot of people come to Los Angeles and they're usually gone within a year or two. I've been here for over 10 years now. So yeah, I told you this long story because people get caught up in why didn't they choose me? And I'm not going to say this is every single time because first of all, I know a lot, but I don't know everything. There are some situations where rejection, they say rejection is God's protection. I heard something, and that's even crazier. I had already planned to do this daily thought today, and I was watching a tarot card reading, and she said, rejection is God's protection or redirection. And I was like, wow, I'm adding that in there because we've all heard rejection is God's protection, but I haven't heard rejection is God's protection or redirection. And that's what it can be sometimes where you're rejected, but it's protecting you maybe from a bad situation, or it's God, the universe, Allah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, God, Goddess, the light, the one, the source, pick whatever works best for you, is attempting to direct you somewhere else. When I was hung up on why didn't they pick me, and I knew it was the man who didn't like me. I knew the lady liked me because, like I said, her and I had good chemistry. It was the man who, for whatever reason, we just didn't click, and I didn't get the job. And I was hung up on did he not see my resume? It was one of those. I don't know if you remember Rick James. It's like that incident when he was saying that the person didn't know who he was backstage, and he said, "I'm Rick James." That's how I was feeling after all of that happened. It's like, did you not see my resume? Do you not know who I am? So I was hung up on that. But the universe was like, no, this isn't it. I need you to go this direction so it will fall up in place with this, and then this will fall up in place with this, and it'll all make sense once you get further down the road. I know you can't see where you want to go because you're trying to go this direction. No, 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 no. I have something better for you. Because if I would have been in that position, I would have been reporting to a supervisor at that time. I would have been like having to deal with making numbers, doing this, doing that, da 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 da. The job that I was redirected to, I didn't have to deal with all of that in real estate. And not only did I not have to deal with that, because it was a startup company, I was able to be promoted without being asked. That always happens to me too. I always get promotions without being asked. I was promoted a long time ago when I worked for a web hosting company. I didn't even ask for the promotion. That's why I left, because all of the supervisors were jealous of me. Because at the job, the average time for a supervisor to be promoted was 6 months. I was promoted in 3. But again, I didn't ask for it. All I did was go to the head person of the call center, and I had typed up a thing saying, hey, these are some problems I noticed, and these are some possible solutions. And I went into her office and I was like, here you go. Because my mother told me, do not bring me a problem unless you bring me a solution to go with it. Okay. So I went into her office with some things that I noticed to be problems, and I brought what I felt might be some solutions. And then after we had a conversation, she was like, well, why don't you just become the trainer? I'm like, wait, what? How did we jump from this to here? And I became the customer service trainer at that time and created the first customer service training program for that company, which was the largest web hosting company at the time. And I created the training program from scratch. So yeah, but I didn't ask for the promotion. I was just thrown into it. So that's just usually how it happens with me. The point is that I was redirected. It was like I said, I was hung up on, this is the perfect one. This job is perfect for me. It's a cruise company. I used to work for a cruise company. I used to own a travel agency. I know these cities. I know these ports. I'm good at memorizing ships and so on and so forth. And the universe is like, no, you're going to go into real estate just for a little while. We're gonna send you into real estate. And that is what happened. But the crazy thing was, and then also I was still hung up on the location, but then the universe is like, don't worry about that. The place that I'm gonna send you to, it's gonna be a block away from where you would have been working if you would have got the job you wanted. So that's already handled. I got you. So yeah, the universe just has a way of doing things. Don't get hung up on why didn't they choose me? And again, this doesn't have to be about just a job. It can be a person, because you might have the thing, that attitude like, wow, I'm an amazing person. I asked this person out on a date. This person said no. I have a good personality. I'm not bad looking. I'm easy on the eyes. I have a stable income. I don't live with my parents. And so, you can go down a laundry list of things. Like this. What's wrong with them? Why do they not see all of this? Why didn't they pick me? Don't get hung up on that. Maybe the universe is saying, hey, I know you think that person that you want, that just turned you down and you still want them, I know that you may want that person right now. But what if I told you I have something better for you? what if I told you that what I have for you will make that person pale in comparison? That person is a 6. What if I told you I'm going to send someone your way that's going to see all of your attributes, and I'm going to upgrade you to a 10? I mean, obviously, the universe cannot just flat out tell you, hey, I'm going to upgrade you. However, what the universe can do is set things in place where it's like, okay, this isn't going to work. This is protection. Or not protection, it's redirection. Where it might be, oh yeah, they might be a decent match for you, but I feel that even though they may be a decent match for you, your attributes may be needed for someone else. Maybe the attributes that you're bringing to the table for this individual won't complement the relationship as much as this other individual, where everything just syncs together. You see what I'm saying? So I'll have to, the universe is like, I have to redirect you to someone else where your attributes will really make the relationship glow. And their attributes in turn will complement you to make the relationship glow and grow. But you may not see all of that. Rejection. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's redirection. And sometimes it's just rejection. And if that's the case, then it's whatever. That goes back to what I've talked about before. It's called self-esteem. If you have self-esteem, it's not really going to matter that much anyway. You'll eventually learn to let it go, just like I did. Because after a while, I was just like, okay, their loss. And again, that can be in work, that can be in romance, that can be in family, whatever relationship type you want to pick, it can be in any of those. However, there are those times where the universe is like, I need you to go in a different direction. Or I need to protect you from something that glitters, but it's really not gold. It's lead, is what it is. And lead will weigh you down. You need something that will lift you up. And that is my daily thought. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast, again, is carried on Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, so on and so forth. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Thank you again to all of those who have been supporting the podcast. I sincerely appreciate it. And if you like this, don't forget to hit the like button. If you want to share, sharing is caring. And don't forget to subscribe. That way you will know when I upload new videos and new audios to my podcast. Until next time, be blessed.